This podcast is sponsored by Active Skin Repair, a skin health company helping people heal with natural, non toxic, medical grade ingredients. Okay, guys, I am probably one of the most accident prone people on the planet. You can blame it on many things: bad luck, poor spatial perception, but it all results in the same thing. Bree can injure herself literally anywhere, anytime. Take, for instance, last week, I was plucking my eyebrows, people, and I stabbed myself in the hand. Next thing I know, I am bleeding everywhere, going, what the heck just happened? But luckily for me, I had some active skin repair on hand, just one spray, and it felt so much better. By the next day, it was not red, not sore. It was fantastic. I love this stuff. Active skin repair can be used to treat a wide range of skin issues. And since it's all natural and non toxic, it's perfect for people like me with sensitive skin. It works by utilizing hydrochloric acid, which mimics a natural immune response to cleanse, soothe irritation, reduce inflammation, and support the healing. With over 500,000 happy customers, thousands of 5-star reviews, and ingredients that are so safe and clean that it can be used from the youngest member of your family all the way up to the oldest, most accident prone like me, you can have one simple solution for your family's skin health needs. So visit www.activeskincarerepair.com to learn more about active skin repair and get 20% off your order by using the code NOGUILT. That's www.activeskinrepair.com. Use the code NOGUILT to get 20% off your order. I think a big thing is also, like, in terms of growth, is looking at your life as seasons. There are things that will grow and will flourish in certain seasons of your life, and that won't be applicable in others.
Or that you just don't want to put importance on during that time, you know? Like, you can't do everything at once. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I'm your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by Brie Tucker.
Why, hello, everybody. How are you today?
We get to dig into something that I find so fascinating. It's your personal values, but they're not like values you were raised with. They're
It's not
actually
your grandma's values.
not your grandma's values. They're actually the things that really matter to you in your life. And when you stop and when you define your values, you can make decision making so much easier. You can actually make your mom guilt a lot lower because you'll know that, hey, that is not something I value. I'm going to say no to that one, and I'm going to make room for this thing that I actually do value over here.
Well, I think it really helps when you're, like, feeling off about something and you're not sure why.
Mm-hmm.
Or when something keeps popping up that keeps irritating you and you're like, "Why can't I work past this?"
Yeah.
There's probably something under the surface there, and this little trick, this little tactic that we're gonna talk about today is gonna really help.
Like,
So
why does it piss me off when we go grocery shopping with my husband and he always tries to buy the generic? And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, let's just buy this one. It has a better smell. Like, I don't care if it's the same ingredients. There's something else here. Like, why does that piss
I
me
hear
off?
you.
It's my values. It's something in my values. Yes, it's true.
It is, like, and the same, like, for me as to, like, when I'm doing stuff with my family, like, why does it have to be certain activities that we do in certain ways? It's because of the fact that I feel like certain things bring in that community and that security for me, and I'm not willing to go out of that realm. Like, it upsets me when I feel like someone is disrespecting something that brings me security.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bigger one, right? Like, I'm sure in your head, you're like, "Okay, that registers. That registers with a lot of things." When I
Yeah.
feel like my security's being disrespected, I get so angry.
But it's
And it's
also,
funny because sometimes it's 6 steps away from it. You gotta work through the process to figure out how I got there.
yeah, but also, like, when you know your values, you're better able to communicate them. And also, in terms of
Right.
security, you can then find a way to negotiate how you can get that security while also working with the other person, which is like
Exactly.
huge in communication. It's huge. So, this episode is going to be a good one. Please, 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 if you know a mom in your life that like could really use the boost, really is consumed by mom guilt, please share this podcast with them. Share it on your Facebook wall. Share it on Instagram. Share it with anyone who you feel needs to be lifted up because we want to make this world full of no guilt moms. Women are powerful and we do not deserve to be pushed down by guilt any longer. So share, share, share. And let's get on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
Okay, let's talk about these values because this was first brought to my attention by the wonderful Rachel Nielsen of the 3 and 30 podcast. And if you have not checked out her podcast, please go check it out. She was
It is fantastic. It is wonderful.
It is fantastic. I've been on it before. Rachel is such a gifted interviewer and so good at packing just value in. And she talked about this topic in our Happy Mom Summit recently. And she got me pretty obsessed with it. Like, we talked about this brand of cards, and they're called the Live Your Values deck. And it's these cards full of values that you sort out according to like what is an important value to you, what doesn't matter to me, and what is like the most important. But these values are things like spirituality is a value, simplicity is a value, self-expression is a value. So it's not things like, it's funny you say values and immediately I'm like chastity. Like, how
Oh,
much has
God.
the church influenced my definition of values? So much.
Well, you went to how long of Catholic school or
Oh, it
religious
was a
school?
long time.
Yeah.
Episcopalian first, but Catholic. I was Catholic. Yeah, chastity, virtue. No,
Yes, right? And it's I feel like a big part of this is like if you're sitting here thinking like values aren't an issue for me, like, okay, then I want you to answer these couple of questions. Have you ever felt like things just are always going wrong for you and you don't know why? Like, have you ever said to yourself, "Well, I should be doing XYZ and I'm not."
you're shooting
Or
on
I
yourself.
should
Are you shooting
Yeah,
on
you're
yourself?
should quit shooting on yourself, all right?
Hmm.
Quit shooting on yourself. Quit doing it. Quit doing it. And like, have you ever been like, I should feel happy about this, but I'm not. Or I should be upset about this, but I'm not. Like, what's wrong with me? These are all things that like your values are probably what's causing the issue.
Yeah.
So,
And it's not like a
yeah.
bad thing. Like, your values are never a bad thing. So I want to
No.
like rephrase that a little bit.
Mhm.
You're not understanding what your values are is causing the
Right.
issue. Because
Right.
once you have a full understanding of what they are and what you do like and what you don't like, oh my gosh, the world just opens up. Because how often, Brie, like I know this has happened to me. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, what do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't know, anything."
Yeah.
But you don't want to do anything because when somebody asks
Right.
to suggest it, be like, "No, that doesn't sound good."
For me as that works with my husband all the time, or even the worst one that there's so many memes for. What do you wanna eat? I don't know, whatever you wanna eat. Let's get Chinese. I don't want
I
Chinese.
don't want, yeah,
Wanna get
exactly.
tacos. I don't we had tacos. Okay, so you don't want Chinese, you don't want tacos. I'll eat anything. Just not that. And then keep going through the list.
Values could really help
So
narrow things down. So like we do an exercise in balance. It's called the values calculator, the value sort. I made a spreadsheet, guys. I love me some spreadsheets where you don't need physical cards. You just get to sort them. And this is what our balance members do when they get to our phase 4, which is the big hairy audacious goal. Because in order to figure out like what you really want out of life, you have to know what you really appreciate in life. And so I did the value sort and my top 5 values, it's recommended top 5. And usually I would think it's even 3 or
Oh,
4
wait.
because I always forget my 5th one.
Oh, wait. No,
Yeah.
before you tell your values, let's just name off, like, a few values
Mhm.
and see where they land first, because 'cause
Okay.
I'm afraid that I don't know what your values are off the top of my head. Like,
Oh,
I've seen them before, but
yeah.
I don't wanna be, like, jaded when we do this part.
Okay.
So, all right, so here's the deal, like, there's this spreadsheet that Joanne created, it's really stinking awesome. It's got over 100 different values listed on it. And in it, like, people go through and balance and they say, like, "Oh, this value is it's supposed to be, like, quick decision. It's not important. Yes, it matters," or, "Yes, it's way important to me. It's very important."
Mhm.
And I listed when I wrote this, like, the outline for us, like, I wrote, like, 5 different core values. I just picked 5 randomly from the list, and I
Yes.
wanna say them and have us both answer where they fall for us on
Okay.
our
So
list,
we're
whether or
like,
not it's
doesn't
not
matter to
important.
me, matters a little bit to me, matters a lot to me. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Alright. So the first one is ambition.
I mean, it matters to me. Not a lot. It's not like a driving
My
force ambition.
So you would say, like, it matters.
It
It's
matters.
middle tier.
I want
It
people to have
matters.
ambition. I get mad at people when they don't have any ambition. So yeah, it matters to me. What about you?
Right. That's actually under a not important to me. Like,
Really?
I
Tell
just
me like
yeah,
why?
because I feel like I have been at the right now it's a not important because I feel like I have been at the point where it was important and it took too forward of a seat for me
Oh.
that it caused me to let some things go that I shouldn't have. It caused me to, like, suppress other values because I was like, "Well, my ambition is the most important thing here, so
Okay.
I'm gonna just let this other thing go. I'm gonna call it disrespect. I'm gonna let this disrespect go
Mhm.
because it's more important to me to get this ambition done." And
Oh.
also, having had people in my life who valued ambition above their relationship with me or their
Mm.
children or other things like that has soured me on the whole ambition thing. So
Oh, got it.
now,
It's
at
kinda like a
this
dirty word.
juncture in my life,
Yeah.
yeah, this junction in my life, it's a not important,
I understand that. I totally understand that.
right?
Yeah.
So 10 layers below.
Well,
It's an onion you gotta peel
I see
for
ambition,
me.
and when I see ambition, I more see direction, but I haven't had that personal
Okay.
experience with ambition before. I've seen more people like, I can think of one person right now in particular in my life who's my family, who has no ambition to take like, none, and you're like, "What are you gonna do? Like,
And they're
people
like,
can't
"Eh."
take care of you. What are you gonna do with like so,
Right.
I mean, that's why it
And you
matters
see
to
the
me.
stress that it causes other people.
Yeah,
So,
mhm.
like, yeah, so that's one. Alright, so what about loyalty?
Um, it matters to me. Yeah, it matters to me. It's not like utmost importance because also I view loyalty as like blind loyalty. And I
Mhm.
don't think blind loyalty is good at all. But I do think that people need to protect their people. They also need to be able to go against their people, like, and challenge their people as well. Like, I think
Question things,
that's more
right?
loyalty. I mean, obviously, let's not skirt around the issue. We are talking about Trumpers here. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm sorry if I call it a Trumper. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is
You can say
totally
cult mindset maybe.
the cult mindset around it. The
It's
cult mindset.
yeah.
Um,
And I would agree with you on that. I would say I'm in the same boat. It's yes, it matters, but blind loyalty can be very scary, and for me, because of that, I don't feel like it's yes,
yeah, me too.
guides my life.
It matters,
It's
but
very important,
mhm.
but not well, I wouldn't say very important. It's important, but not very important. Okay, here, how about this one? Perseverance.
Very important. It matters a lot to me. It matters a lot. I think all of the big things I've gotten in my life have been because I have not given up. And I really, really like, I hold that as a big value for myself because it doesn't matter how hard it takes. Like, there's this one quote, actually, it's from an ultra marathoner. And being a marathoner, like, perseverance is a pretty important
Uh-huh.
thing. But it's like run when you can, walk when you're able, crawl if you must, but never give up. And I think about that every time I get into a hard place. I'm like, yeah, I'm moving pretty slowly right now. I can only do a little bit. That's okay. As long as I don't give
Mhm.
up, it's going to be like, I'm going to get there. It's going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's a big one.
That's I would say it matters to me, but it's definitely not hugely important. I wouldn't say it's not important at all because like we talked about on another episode recently, like things are about the long game. And if you don't have perseverance or you don't value perseverance, then you tend to give up on the long game or it
Yeah.
can cause you to.
It was
All right,
funny. You know,
next
it's
one.
a perseverance
Uh-huh.
thing. So when I worked in Hollywood at Endeavor, there was this agent, Leanne Cornell, and she was Lindsay Lohan's agent. And
Oh.
Lindsay Lohan, it was just around the time that Mean Girls hit because Lindsay Lohan was trying to transition from her role as a child actor to more of like a
Mhm,
teen adult actor being seen like more, in those roles. And
mhm.
at the holiday party, Leanne got the award for stick to itiveness, which is perseverance, because she never gave up on Lindsay, and she got her in that role in Mean Girls, and Lindsay just blew up. So, like,
Yeah,
I just think of that
that's
when I think of
crazy.
perseverance because they called it stick-to-itiveness. It's like
I like that.
perseverance.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's I might try to start, like, shifting that mindset there with that word.
stick-to-itiveness.
I like that.
Mhm.
All right, so we're gonna last one, thrift.
No.
I put this one in on purpose.
It does
Yeah.
not matter to me. This is why I get so mad at my husband when he's, like, picking up the generic because first of all, let's take ibuprofen, for example. Advil has a different taste than generic ibuprofen. It has, like, a different, like, taste and smell in your mouth. I don't know if you've ever noticed
Okay.
this. It tastes better. And so
I
there
don't
is a
buy
difference.
Advil, so
Even
I
though it's
wouldn't
the
know.
same drug, it's the same drug, it tastes better. The brand name.
Well, and I would say for me, you already know, thriftiness is a huge thing for me.
Yes.
It's huge. I'm like, "Oh my god, I got this for $1."
Look at this koozie I got, Joanne. It has a podcast company we're never gonna use, but it's a koozie. It was free.
Got it for free.
I got you one too.
How
I'm like,
much
oh.
exactly, exactly. So, like, yeah, I think that's just an example
Yeah.
of, like, how you could feel about your values, and, like, once you find the ones that are important, you can see similarities, we'll narrow them down. So, after this break, we're going to share what our 5 values are and talk about the process of how we broke those down and then what you can do to figure yours out too. Shout out to Claritin for supporting this episode and providing us with samples. Okay, guys, this is Bree, and I have been an allergy sufferer for my entire adult life. I joke that no one has as much of a love hate relationship with spring flowers and blossoms as I do. I absolutely love those orange blossoms here in Arizona. The smell is amazing. And yet, almost instantly, I could feel my sinuses closing up, my eyes start to water and itch, and my throat is itchy. It's like nonstop. Allergies just suck. And when my nose is plugged up, I can't do anything. I get awful headaches. I'm exhausted. It's hard to do much when you can't really breathe, people. And recording podcasts become pretty much impossible. I spend half of my time clearing my throat like I'm doing right now and muting my mic so that I can cough through my congestion. It's ridiculous. So thank God for Claritin D. This has been my go-to since pretty much forever. I've actually tried different allergy meds on the market, and Claritin D is the only one that has ever worked for me. True story. I take one pill every morning when I get up, and then I can handle whatever Mother Nature likes to dish out during the day. Fast and powerful relief is just a quick trip away. Find Claritin D at the pharmacy counter. Ask for Claritin D at your local pharmacy counter. Guys, you don't even need a prescription. Go to Claritin.com right now for a discount so you can live Claritin Clear. Use as directed.
Hey, all, it is Joanne.
And Bree here.
And we want to tell you about a podcast that you should check out. It's called Understood Explains. This season of the show is hosted by teacher and special education expert Juliana Urturbe, and it's all about how to navigate individual education plans, also known as IEPs.
And in this latest season of Understood Explains, it covers topics like how to tell if your child needs an IEP, and it busts common myths about special education. We actually just listened to the episode IEPs, Does My Child Need an IEP? And here is what we loved about it.
I loved that it was so digestible. Like, it was such a short episode, and all of the topics, which could be really confusing to parents, were easily explained.
And I loved how they gave great concrete examples because you know how much I love me a good example. They explained what kind of services and supports you could actually see on a child's IEP or individual education plan. And they explained those acronyms. That nothing drives me more crazy than when there's acronyms and I don't get it. I don't know what it stands for. They took the time to explain everything in so much detail and to cover concerns that a lot of families have about special ed services.
To listen to Understood Explains, search for Understood Explains in your podcast app. That's Understood Explains, or just click on the link in our show notes. Okay, so how can you figure out what your values are? Well, it's best if you have a list of values in front of you that you can sort through. We make it really easy, as we said before, for our Balanced VIP members on our values calculator. But when you sort through them, you could do it from a list. You could do it from the Live Your Values deck, which we'll put a link to in the show notes because it's really, really handy. This is how I did it first. And it's so cool because they also have pictures on the front, like beautiful graphics. and they have like what it means on the back. So I just pulled this
Aw.
value of fun, and it gives you like hints to incorporate more fun in your life. So if fun is a value for you, keep track and reflect on what makes you happy. Begin to see fun and joy as your purpose versus an extravagance, which I think is so
Ooh.
cool. Makes me want to go through these and like figure out what it has for your thrift. But I want to hear your core
I'm
values first.
brewing I'm brewing some ideas. I've already got ideas for once we're done recording this episode of what we can do with that deck. So my core values when I went through and did the list of like just over 100, separated them out, mine ended up being authenticity,
Mhm.
balance, community, security, and excellence.
Oh,
And so yeah, so like and it's like when you're going through and you have all these values and you take all the ones that you're like, yes, absolutely, and you try to like sort them together. Like which ones are similar? And it's interesting because I might put things so we were talking before, like security was one I felt like I wanted to explain because I don't know if my security is the same as other people.
yeah.
So when I put security down for a value, I grouped that with safety, financial stability, and order,
Mhm.
because those are the things that bring me security, and those are the things that I think of for security. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like people that know me know that Bree does not do well in chaos. Like when things start floating around, I'm like, nope, let's pull it all back together. We need an order, we need a process, like, 'cause that's what brings me security. So if I am somewhere or I'm doing something where it feels like there's no order, or there's something where I'm feeling insecure in finances or in general safety. My safety is like we're talking about like that nobody's going to come and kill me in my sleep.
Yeah.
Like that is where my security comes from. And other people might have completely other different things under security. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's all about
that's
like what really you relate to, what gets you,
uh-huh.
what like gets you fired up because you're right, like with security, stability, order, everything like that, like it all goes together. It looks like it goes together. Like I hear excellence in yours and I'm like that's interesting that you value excellence but ambition has a totally different mindset for you. And it's
Right, cuz
yeah.
under yeah, good.
Well, it's because like you just have a different emotional reaction to ambition based on your life circumstances
I do.
and
I
everything.
do. And under excellence, I have success, competence, and collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is what is excellence for me, and those are core things.
I
So,
pulled the
what are
stability
yours?
card for you
Oh,
like
okay,
for your
what's
security because it's stability is to have a life that stays fairly consistent. I don't know if that's your I mean
yes.
so it says consider how you ensure stability in your life. Reflect on how you respond to uncertainty or chaos and what principles and practices you use to remain stable.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could tell you, like, everything at my adult life has been driven through that. Like, I seek out things that bring in that security, and if I'm asked to do something that
Mhm.
makes me feel insecure or makes me feel like I am going to make somebody else insecure,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be threatening their security, I lash out and have a very hard time doing it.
I know you do. I know.
So, yeah, yeah, I'm all like, "You know that," like and it's weird how it shows up in work for me,
Yeah.
because 'cause I've always had it so, like, this is the first job I've ever had where I wasn't helping other people find security. Like,
Yeah.
every job I've ever had before was, like, my job was to help them find resources and to help support them in disabilities or local areas of programs finding that stuff, bringing in their stability.
Mhm.
So I literally met that value by what I did every single day. And while we do it here, it's in a different way. So like, yeah,
It's
yeah,
focused on growth, which will it does cause you to take some risks and get into uncomfortable territory,
yeah,
which I think like that is something like knowing now that yours is security, like as a leader, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to be really cognizant of this whenever we make changes because I'm like, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. It'll be fine.
and I immediately go like, "Ah, let's wait a minute,
Wait a
let's
minute. Well, yeah.
hold up a second." So, all right, so let's talk about yours. What are your core values?
Adventure is one of mine.
Oh,
Growth,
I 100% see that.
um, a creative contribution. I made that one up. I put like a lot of ones together to make up because I like to be a contributor. I like to have significance, but I do it in creative ways. Goes with the risk
Mhm.
taking. Authenticity is one of mine. I can't stand it if I think other people are being inauthentic or if I come off as inauthentic. And connection is mine too.
Okay, I want to hear what's under your authenticity because we both have it, but I wonder if we have the same values like tied to it. Can you think of like any other values that are tied to it? I'm totally throwing you.
Under authenticity, though, it was stuff like integrity. Integrity is big to me. Standing behind what I say, knowing that there's like logic and stuff behind what I say, researching things. For example, under terms of authenticity, there are certain Instagrammers on in social media that I get very, very mad at because like, especially when it comes to kids and food. This is a big trigger for me when they are like cherry picking science and like research and saying like, oh, like gluten
Yeah.
causes this in kids. I'd be like, hold up now. Like I hear those things and I'm like, let's go find where that comes from because it usually comes from something. And it's like cherry picked is like a possible effect where they are making it apply to every single person. And that gets me because I feel that that's not being authentic or like
Yeah.
it shows like no integrity. So yeah, that's one of the things. But I pulled growth
I
card for
think
me.
Oh,
But
yeah.
go ahead, tell me what you think.
Well, no, I was gonna say like, my authenticity has respect, trust, uniqueness, and freedom under it. So that's what builds my authenticity,
Trust is a big one. Yeah.
right?
Trust.
And I feel
Goes
like
with
that's a
security.
big thing you were just talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did wonder if trust should go under security, but I felt like it went under authenticity in this case instead. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah,
It does
yeah.
go under
All
it.
right,
Yeah.
so you have growth. Tell me about
Growth
growth.
is about to develop and change continually. And it says, it's actually a great one for me. Resist the urge to think of yourself as smart or not smart, or good or not good at something. Instead, notice the hard work and effort you put toward improving yourself. That's a big one for me. Because
I think a big thing is like also like in terms of growth is like looking at your life as seasons.
Mhm.
Kind of like just like some things I like when there are things that will grow and will flourish in certain seasons of your life and that won't be applicable in others.
Or that you just
So,
don't want to put importance on during that time, you know? Like
yeah.
you you can't do everything at once. And
True.
when we try to do everything at once, like that's one of like the biggest ahas women who come into balance program have is at first they feel really overwhelmed when they see everything that we have planned for them. And then they
Yeah.
realize they're like, wait a minute, I don't have to do this all at once. Like I can just take a little piece of this every single day. I can progress bit
Yep.
by bit, and I'm going to go a lot farther than if I try to do it all at once.
Right. You have to recognize that you need that stick to itedness
Stick to
to,
itiveness. Yep. Stick to itiveness.
and do it at a pace for sure.
Yeah, and you
So,
know,
yeah.
run if you can, walk if you're able, crawl if you must, but never give up.
Yes. You will find your way there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now that you know what our values are, now we're going to talk about what you can do once you have figured out what your values are and how that can help make a change for the better for every day.
Yes.
Right after this.
When it comes to raising kids, there's so much to consider. Things like, what do we feed them? When do we feed them? How do they sleep? What does it look like to raise kind kids? How does their nervous system work? How do I keep myself calm? What are my triggers? There's so much that comes into play, and we are distilling all of that information for you at Voices of Your Village podcast, where we bring experts in the field of early childhood and education and psychology and across the board so that you don't have to comb the internet for information. You get to show up and hang out and have shame-free, judgment-free conversations and insights into what it looks like to raise kind, empathetic, emotionally intelligent humans. I'm Alyssa Blask Campbell. I have a master's degree in early childhood education. I'm a mom of 2, and I am walking this journey right alongside you doing this work. Come hang out with me at Voices of Your Village, and we can dive into real conversations with actionable tips.
No one told us the truth about parenthood. Why? This is the podcast everyone needed before they had kids because now that those little ones are here, there is a lot to unpack. I'm Rachel Shepardota, and I am your host for the podcast No One Told Us, where we tell the truth about parenting and let you in on all the stuff you really should have known about before having kids. I am the founder of Hey Sleepy Baby, but this podcast is so much more than sleep. We'll be diving into all the topics that you really care about and need to know while you do your best job raising those adorable, tiny humans. Our goal is to just make you feel less alone and less overwhelmed. There are so many things that no one tells us before becoming a parent, and I think that we should really pull back the curtain on becoming a first-time or second-time mom or dad to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll have a little education, a little fun, and a whole lot of heart that goes into each and every episode. So join me and our amazing guests each week to hear us talk about what no one told us.
So we hope that our discussion has really keyed you into maybe you share some similar values to us and you were able to pinpoint exactly like what values you might identify with. Because once you identify your values, you can really figure out your triggers a whole lot better. I mean, Bree, this has helped me immensely. In fact, we like there is a certain situation happening where someone in our life wants to quit something and they are blaming everybody else for them wanting to quit, saying like, "Oh, it's this fault. Oh, it's because you did this. Oh, it's because
Yeah.
you did that." And it has triggered me
Well,
inside. And the reason it's
yeah, no, go
yeah.
ahead. The reason I was gonna say, because we talked about why we think it's happening. So go on.
Oh, yeah, and the reason it's triggered me is because I have this high value of growth. Like, I believe that change, like, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, and so when I see this person wanting to quit, they're really not embracing the uncomfortableness that comes with change and growth, as well as, like, not sticking to something, like, perseverance, stick-to-itiveness, it lands high for me, even though it's not a most
Yeah.
valued thing, and you don't progress by giving up, and it's in my values.
Well, and I feel like this person, like something is happening in their life that is causing them to feel they're losing some of their values and they're looking
Mhm.
for, how what's making it go away. And
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately they're looking for external reasons rather than coming back to themselves and being like, "Okay, why am I so because again, it comes back to why am I so upset about this?" And we talk about
Yeah.
this a lot in balance and just in general, no guilt mom, like figuring out the why behind things is so huge. It's
Mhm.
immense. And it's funny when you talk about change because immediately my head popped up with this meme I tagged a lot when I was going through my divorce of like divorce is like throwing up. Nobody wants to do it, but you feel so much better once it's done. And it's
Yeah.
like, and I think that's the uncomfortableness and change. Like
Yeah.
you feel like you're going to throw up. Nobody wants to throw up. But once you go through that and you move through the scary part, it does get better. And that is why having people around you that can help support you makes it a lot less scary. Like there are people there to
Yeah.
help catch you when you stumble because you're going to stumble because it's new
You
and it's
are.
scary, but there are people there to help support you in that. And when you start cutting everybody out because it has to be everybody else's, there has to be all these external reasons it's not working rather than figuring
Mhm.
out why you're really upset in the first place. It's really, really rough. So,
It is rough.
yeah.
You keep looking and looking for your answer and you never find it because it's been in you all
Oh,
along.
it's like
And
Dorothy
that's
and the Wizard of Oz. You could always go home.
yes.
You always had the
It's
opportunity or whatever.
but it's true, like, usually, like, it is the answer is in you, and it's funny being an entrepreneur, there's so much mindset junk that goes along with, like, a career like this. I
Yeah.
think there's so much mindset junk that goes along with any career, but, like, a lot of success is tied to how you think about things and how you think through things and how willing you are to get rejected and to fail because there's a lot of rejection that comes with like owning a business. There's a lot of things that you try and they don't work.
Yeah.
And just because they don't work one time, it doesn't mean that they won't work later on. Sometimes I've learned it's just like a little nuance or it's something in me that I like didn't need. I didn't go the extra step to make that thing work. And so that's why this inner work of determining your values and figuring stuff out is so important. It's so important.
It is. It is. So like again, like once you can figure out what your core values are, like it then you can like really start looking back at those things that are bugging the crap out of you and being like, "All right,
Mhm.
why am I so upset about this? Why does this keep popping up?" So like an example we had like you and I were talking about this the other day, you were saying like how something came up for volunteering at your kid's school. and you're like, why do I like feel like such crap for not doing this? And it's because like, first of all, those damn
Yeah.
shoulds were popping in there, right? And then like just it's when you look back at your core values, it's just not something that fell under your core values for you.
Mhm.
And that's
Well,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, like the shoulds of like volunteerism. It's not really like I get it's good. It matters. Volunteering matters to
Mhm.
me. It is not a high value. Like I value growth and connection over volunteerism.
Right.
So like if somebody needs like papers copied and like you're spending 2 hours alone in the copy room, no way. That goes directly against my connection.
Yeah.
I don't get connected to a copy machine. Forget that. That is not how I want to volunteer.
Right.
So then you can see like other ways you can volunteer.
Mhm.
But if solitude is one of your values, man, volunteering and copying papers, that is a perfect job for someone who
Exactly.
values that.
Exactly. But like it's important to understand like why that is what's causing an issue with you. So like with me too, like my example I put on for this was like I should feel happy about going on this family vacation, but I don't.
Mhm.
And maybe that's because adventure and traveling isn't your thing. Maybe like in my like so for my case, my husband keeps trying to plan us this little getaway in like June. And I am
Mhm.
really like everything he has brought up, I have shot down. And I haven't really shared why. So I guess after we're done recording this, I'm gonna have to go upstairs and talk to him about why. But it's because like I have a value of security right now, financial security, and I don't feel safe planning a vacation right now. Like we've got a
Yeah.
kid that's going off to college next year, so we've got to start like saving up for that. Band is around the corner, and let me tell you guys, if you have a kid in marching band, start your second mortgage because it just is crazy, crazy.
That's crazy.
Especially in
It's
Chandler,
crazy.
Arizona. It's crazy. So, but I mean, like we have all those things coming up around the corner. And so my security is being threatened right now. And that
Mhm.
value is being threatened by even talking about this whole vacation thing. So, but if I would have that open conversation, then we could figure out a way to meet his value of wanting to have quality time together and adventure
Yeah.
and my core value of like feeling secure and how we can make that happen because we can, but we're never
Mhm.
going to get
Yeah.
anywhere if we don't do that. So like that's a big thing right there. So,
That's a big thing. That's like it goes back to also how we teach parenting here at No Guilt Mom,
mhm.
where it's trying to figure out what your kids need and then knowing what you need and knowing what you value, because it's only then that you can come to some really creative solutions about how both needs can get met.
Yep.
So, this work that you do on yourself is so important. So important. And it helps you really stay grounded for the long term
Yeah.
and helps you keep your calm and keep your cool and your
So
patience.
if you've heard
So,
this like episode and it gave you a heck of a lot of ahas, then there
mhm.
are two things that we need you to do. First thing we need you to do is click on the link in our show notes on joining balance because it is life changing. We will walk you through this whole process. It is amazing. The second
Yeah.
thing
And we
is,
have a free trial for you,
yes,
by the way, too. So you can try it out.
yes.
So go and get that. Plus, a lot of like our products for kids come free with that free trial. It's like an unbelievable deal.
It is
Go and try it
fantastic.
out.
It is amazing. So I
Yeah.
want you to do that. And then the second thing is share this with somebody in your life because if it gave you ahas, there is a good chance that there are a few people in your life that is going to give ahas to as well. That are going to be like, "Oh my god, I never thought of it that way. Holy crap. This is like this
Absolutely.
is like that special ingredient that my guacamole has been missing. I had no idea it needed garlic." I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
Can you
no
tell it's
idea.
lunchtime? It's lunchtime as we're
Yeah,
recording this,
it is
people.
lunchtime.
Bree's
I'm actually
hungry.
getting the texts. I'm getting the texts from my husband because we have our lunch date
Oh,
today. And he's like, lunch? And I'm like, ooh, yes,
yes.
yes, please.
Yes, please.
So if you're listening to this around lunchtime, we hope you have a good meal.
Yes.
And remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for stopping by.
Are you overwhelmed by the things that get in the way of you doing what you want to do? Are you looking for ways to simplify life to better align with your values? Do you want to create space in your schedule so you have room for more of the good stuff? Play, joy, relationships, gratitude, and more? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I invite you to check out Edit Your Life, a podcast to help you edit the unnecessary from your life so you have more room to enjoy the awesome. Through episodes with me, Christine Coe, and a range of super smart, compassionate, and thoughtful guests, you'll come away with big picture insights and practical ways to declutter your home, schedule, and mental space without getting bogged down by perfection. I have always believed that small moments and actions matter tremendously. My goal is to help you find agency and space in your life through doable baby steps that will leave you feeling accomplished instead of overwhelmed. Check out Edit Your Life wherever you enjoy your podcasts.